My name is Gabriella Hulin, 34 years old, and I'm an elementary school counselor. I've spent the last decade teaching children about honesty, boundaries, and emotional safety. But 6 years ago, my own family taught me a different lesson, that some people will sacrifice your dignity for their convenience. On June 12th, 2019, my parents, my sister, and my brothers stood up during my wedding ceremony and left. Not during the reception. During the ceremony, right before my father was supposed to walk me down the aisle. They left for my sister's boutique opening. She'd threatened to close it if they didn't show up, so they abandoned me in front of everyone I loved. I kept every text, every email, every bank statement. I didn't know why at the time. I just knew I needed proof I wasn't crazy. Turns out, I'd need those receipts for something much bigger than my own vindication. Growing up, there was Stephanie's life, and then there was mine. My sister Stephanie was 32 when this story really begins. I was 28. We had two brothers, Connor, 30, and Tyler, 26. But if you looked at our family, you'd think there was only one child who mattered. When Stephanie got pregnant at 24, my parents threw her a baby shower that cost $15,000. Rented venue, catered food, a dessert table that looked like it belonged at a wedding. 200 guests. I helped set up the tables. When I graduated with my master's degree in counseling at 26, my mother sent a text. 3 words. Congrats, honey. No party, no celebration, no acknowledgement that I'd worked full-time while getting that degree, that I'd spent 4 years in night classes, that I'd graduated with honors. I learned early. I wasn't the priority. I just didn't know how far they'd take it. At my parents' house, there was a china cabinet in the dining room. 47 photos on display. I counted them once during Christmas dinner while everyone else watched football. 39 photos of Stephanie's family, her wedding, her kids, her graduations, her birthday parties. 8 photos of everyone else combined. Me, Connor, Tyler, extended family. 8 photos total. But I thought a wedding would be different. I thought that was the one day I'd matter. I got engaged in January 2018. His name was Andrew Bennett. We'd been dating for 3 years. He was a physical therapist, steady and kind, the kind of man who remembered small things. He proposed during a hike we'd done a dozen times before, at the overlook where we'd had our first real conversation about the future. I called my parents that night. My mother cried, the good kind of crying. My father said he was proud. For exactly 4 minutes on that phone call, I felt like I mattered. I booked the venue 2 weeks later. The Gardens at Willow Creek, an outdoor garden venue 40 minutes from my parents' house in Charlotte, North Carolina. The ceremony would be outside under a flower arch, the reception in a white tent with string lights. I put down an $8,500 deposit, non-refundable. I'd saved that money over a year of side work, tutoring kids after school, 3 evenings a week. In February 2018, I sent the Save the Date email to my family. Subject line: Save the Date. Gabriella and Andrew, June 12th, 2019. Body: Hi everyone! Attached is our Save the Date for June 12th, 2019. We've booked the Gardens at Willow Creek. Can't wait to celebrate with you all. Love, Gabriella. I sent it to my parents, Stephanie, Connor, Tyler, and 12 extended family members. Stephanie replied 6 hours later. Noted, congrats, sis. I read that message 3 times. It seemed supportive. I actually thought she was happy for me. That was my first mistake. March 2018. Family dinner at my parents' house, the Sunday tradition we'd had for as long as I could remember. Pot roast, mashed potatoes. My mother's dining room with the china cabinet of unequal photos. Stephanie announced she was opening a children's boutique. She'd been a stay-at-home mom since her first kid was born 9 years earlier. Now she wanted to be a business owner. The boutique would be called Little Wonders. Clothing, toys, curated gifts, high-end. She'd been planning it for months. My father stood up from the table and hugged her. Stephanie's going to be a business owner, he said. We're so proud. My mother's voice cracked when she added, "We're investing our retirement savings." This is her dream. I was happy for her. I was. I asked the obvious question. That's amazing. When's the grand opening? Stephanie smiled. She had a glass of wine in her hand. I remember the condensation ring it left on the wood table when she set it down. We're scouting locations. Probably spring or summer 2019. I'll let you know. I nodded. I sipped my water. I thought, good for her. She deserves something that's hers. She said she'd let me know. She did. Just not the way I expected. October 2018. 6 months before the wedding. I was reviewing my budget, sitting at my kitchen table with a spreadsheet I'd built in Excel. Everything color-coded. Green for paid, yellow for pending, red for still owed. The caterer needed the final headcount payment by January. $4,600. I'd been counting on my parents' contribution. They'd mentioned $8,000 back in February when I got engaged. "We'll help with the wedding," my father had said. "You're our daughter." I texted my mother. "Hi, Mom. Just checking in about the $8,000 you mentioned for the wedding. Caterer needs final headcount payment by January." 3 hours later, she replied, "We'll talk about it later. Things are tight right now." "Okay, no worries. Let me know." Things were tight. I understood. I withdrew $4,000 from my emergency fund the next week to cover the caterer deposit. I didn't ask again. 2 weeks after that text exchange, I was scrolling Instagram at lunch. Teacher's lounge, half-eaten sandwich. I wasn't even looking for it. Stephanie's boutique account, Little Wonders Boutique, launching soon, had posted a story. Photo of my parents standing in an empty retail space, Stephanie's arm around them. Caption, "Thank you, Mom and Dad, for the $12,000 inventory investment. Couldn't do this without you." $12,000. I stared at that screen until my lunch break ended. I didn't say anything. I told myself it was different. A business was an investment. A wedding was just a party. I was already making excuses for them. March 2019. 3 months before my wedding. I was in my office at school. It was a Tuesday, 2:47 in the afternoon. I remember because I'd just finished a session with a third grader whose parents were divorcing, and I'd looked at the clock thinking I had 13 minutes before the next appointment. My phone buzzed. Email notification. From Stephanie to family, 18 recipients. Subject, Little Wonders. Grand opening, June 13th, 2019. I opened it. Exciting news, Little Wonders. Boutique grand opening is officially set for June 13th, 2019. I know it's close to Gabriella's wedding, but I couldn't pass up this lease opportunity. The landlord gave me an amazing deal if I opened before June 15th. I'm sure we can all manage both events. See you there. June 13th, one day after my wedding. I read that email 6 times. I know it's close to Gabriella's wedding. I'm sure we can all manage both events. She knew exactly what she was doing. My wedding ceremony started at 3 p.m. on June 12th. The reception would go until 10 p.m. Her grand opening was at 9 a.m. on June 13th. 11 hours between events. 43 miles between venues. Manage both events. She was asking my family to attend my wedding reception and then wake up early the next morning to drive to her boutique opening. After staying up until 10 p.m., after drinking, after celebrating, after what was supposed to be one of the most important days of my life, I closed my office door. I called her. It rang 4 times. "Hey, Gabriella, did you see my email?" Her voice was cheerful, bright, like she'd just told me good news. "Steph," I said. I kept my voice level. I was at work. I had another student waiting. "The grand opening is the day after my wedding." "I know, it's so close together. But honestly, the landlord was firm about the date. If I didn't take it, I'd lose the space." "You signed a lease without checking with anyone?" I'm 32 years old, Gabriella. I don't need permission. I didn't raise my voice. I never raise my voice. Everyone's going to be exhausted. The reception goes until 10. Your opening is at 9 the next morning. People can do both, she said. It's not that hard. Steph, look, I'm sorry it's inconvenient, but this is my business. This is my future. I can't control when landlords offer deals. She hung up before I could respond. I sat there, door closed, hands shaking. I had 7 minutes before my next appointment. I called my mother. She answered on the second ring. Hi, honey. Mom, did you see Stephanie's email? I did. Isn't it exciting? She finally has an opening date. It's the day after my wedding. Silence. 3 seconds. Then, well, she can't control when the landlord. Mom, it's the day after my wedding. Everyone's going to be exhausted. We'll manage, sweetie. It's just one day. People do multiple events all the time. Are you serious? Gabriella. Her tone shifted, the one she used when she thought I was being difficult. Your sister has been working on this for a year. She can't just change the date because it's inconvenient. Inconvenient? You know what I mean. Don't be dramatic. I hung up. I walked into the hallway. I smiled at the student waiting outside my door. I conducted a 30-minute session about friendship conflicts. I took notes. I nodded. I used my counselor voice, the one that's calm and steady and safe. And when the student left, I went back to my office, opened my laptop, and started a new folder. I named it Wedding 2019 Record. I didn't know why. I just knew I needed to save everything. April 2019, 2 months before the wedding. I asked my parents directly. We were at their house for Sunday dinner. Connor and Tyler were there. Stephanie wasn't. She was at the boutique space, setting up shelves. I waited until dessert. Can I ask you something? My father looked up from his pie. Of course. Are you coming to my wedding or Stephanie's opening? My mother set down her fork. We'll do both. How? I kept my voice even. They're 12 hours apart. The reception ends at 10. Her opening is at 9 the next morning. We'll figure it out, my father said. But how? Gabriella. He used the voice I recognized from childhood, the one that meant the conversation was over. We'll be at your wedding, but we also need to support your sister's business. Family supports family. Family supports family. I nodded. I ate my pie. I didn't push. That was my second mistake. June 2019, 1 week before the wedding. I called my mother. You're coming, right? Of course, honey. Her voice was flat. No emotion. The kind of voice you use when you're saying what someone wants to hear but you don't mean it. What time will you get there? We'll see you at the venue. Okay. I paused. I love you. Silence. 2 seconds. Then, see you soon. She hung up. She didn't say I love you back. I told myself it didn't mean anything. She was busy, distracted, stressed. But my stomach knew better. That same day, Stephanie posted on Facebook. I saw it because 3 people tagged me in the comments. Photo. Stephanie in front of Little Wonders boutique, arms spread wide, huge smile. Caption. Can't wait for everyone to see Little Wonders. Grand opening June 13th. Family, please arrive by 9 a.m. for photos. Family, please arrive by 9 a.m. My wedding ceremony started at 3 p.m. on June 12th. The math was simple. If they stayed for my entire reception, cocktail hour, dinner, toasts, first dance, cake cutting, dancing, they'd leave around 10 p.m., drive home, sleep, wake up early enough to drive 43 miles to Stephanie's boutique by 9 a.m., 4 hours of sleep. Maximum. I looked at my wedding itinerary. I'd printed it, highlighted it, given copies to my parents and the wedding party. Ceremony, 3 p.m., cocktail hour, 4:15 p.m., dinner, 5:30 p.m., toasts, 6:45 p.m. First dance, 7:15 p.m. Father-daughter dance, 7:25 p.m. Cake cutting, 8 p.m. Dancing, 8:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'd planned every minute. I'd triple-checked with the venue coordinator. I'd confirmed with the DJ. Everything was ready. Except I didn't know that my family had already decided which event mattered. June 10th, 2019. 2 days before the wedding. I drove to my parents' house to drop off the final seating chart. I'd rearranged it 4 times to make sure family was together, to make sure Stephanie's kids were near the dance floor, to make sure my parents had the seats of honor. I walked in without knocking. I'd grown up in that house, still had a key. I heard voices from my father's office. The door was cracked. My mother's voice. "Sweetie, we'll be there. Don't worry." I stopped. I shouldn't have listened, but I did. Stephanie's voice, crackling through speakerphone. "Promise me. Promise me you'll be there by 9 a.m. My father. "We promise." Stephanie. "I can't do this without you. If my own family doesn't show up, everyone will think I'm a failure. I'll lose everything. Mom, Dad, please, I need you there." Her voice broke. She was crying. My mother. "We'll be there, sweetheart. We'll be there." I was standing in the kitchen, holding a seating chart, listening to my sister sob about how much she needed my parents at her boutique opening, while my wedding was in 48 hours. I set the seating chart on the counter. I walked out. I didn't say goodbye. I should have canceled everything right then, but I didn't, because I still hoped they'd choose me. CTA number 1. Before I tell you what happened next, I need to know. Have you ever been in a situation where you absolutely knew, that people were about to hurt you, but you couldn't stop it? You just had to watch it happen? Drop a comment. Because what happened 48 hours later changed everything. June 11th, 2019. The night before my wedding, I couldn't sleep. I was in a hotel room with my bridesmaids. They'd planned games, champagne, a movie. I smiled. I played along. I pretended I wasn't checking my phone every 10 minutes. No messages from my parents. No calls. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Email notification from Little Wonders Boutique Newsletter. Subject: Grand Opening. Tomorrow, see you at 9 a.m. I opened it. There was a countdown timer embedded in the email. Big, bright, ticking down. 12 hours until my wedding, 21 hours until hers. I stared at that timer until the sun came up. June 12th, 2019. I woke up at 7 a.m. in a hotel room that smelled like hairspray and champagne from the night before. My bridesmaids were asleep on the pull-out couch and the floor. I was in the bed, still in my pajamas, staring at my phone. No messages from my parents. I called my mother at 11 a.m. Hair and makeup were halfway done. The stylist was curling the hair of my maid of honor while I sat in a robe with my phone pressed to my ear. She answered on the 4th ring. "Hi, honey." "Mom, are you getting ready?" "Yes, dear." "What time are you leaving the house?" "We'll see you at the venue." "Okay." I paused. "I love you." Silence. Then, "See you soon." She hung up. She didn't say, "I love you" back. My maid of honor looked at me in the mirror. "You okay?" I smiled. "I'm perfect." 1:30 p.m. The hotel was 15 minutes from the venue. We drove in a rented SUV, bridesmaids laughing and taking photos out the windows. I was in the back seat, dress in a garment bag on my lap, trying not to wrinkle the tulle. When we pulled into the parking lot at the gardens at Willow Creek, I saw my parents' car. Black SUV, North Carolina plates. I'd know that car anywhere. Relief flooded through me so fast I felt dizzy. They came. They actually came. I saw Stephanie's minivan 2 rows over, Connor's truck, Tyler's sedan. They were all here. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in 72 hours. The venue was beautiful. White tent set up for the reception. 200 chairs arranged in rows for the ceremony, divided by a white fabric aisle scattered with rose petals. Flower arch at the front, trees overhead filtering the June sunlight. The family reserved section was in the front 2 rows, left side. 12 seats with small cards that said, "Reserved, Hulan family." I walked through the tent. The tables were set, centerpieces perfect, place cards arranged. There was a family table near the dance floor. 12 place settings, white tablecloth, my parents' names on the cards, Stephanie's, Connor's, Tyler's, their spouses, Stephanie's kids. Everything was ready. I went to the bridal suite, a small tent behind the main venue, and started getting dressed. 2:15 p.m. The photographer knocked on the bridal suite door. "Gabriella, we need to start family formals." I nodded. "Send someone to get my parents." My maid of honor left, came back 3 minutes later. "Your mom said they'll do photos after the ceremony." I looked up from adjusting my veil. "After?" "That's what she said. But that's when we do couple photos with Andrew." My maid of honor's face was careful, sympathetic. "I know. Do you want me to ask again?" "No." I forced a smile. "It's fine. We'll do it later." The photographer made a note on her clipboard. She crossed out 2:15 p.m. family formals in red pen. Later never came. 15 minutes before the ceremony, guests were seated. I could hear music starting, the prelude playlist I'd spent hours building. Classical guitar, soft, romantic. The wedding coordinator came into the bridal suite. "Your father is ready." I took a breath, stood up. The dress felt heavier than it had during the fitting. My hands were shaking. I walked out of the suite and around to the entrance of the ceremony space. There was a white fabric partition blocking the view so guests couldn't see me before the processional. My father was standing there. Navy suit, silver tie, expressionless. "Hi, Dad." My voice came out smaller than I wanted. "You look great." He adjusted his tie, didn't look at me. "You too." "Are you nervous?" "No." He checked his watch. I saw the time, 2:46 p.m. He checked it again, 2:47 p.m. Again, 2:48 p.m. "Dad?" He didn't answer. The music changed. The processional was starting. My bridesmaids began walking down the aisle, one by one. I watched them through the gap in the partition, smiling, holding bouquets. The guests stood. My father tapped his watch. 2:50 p.m. 2 minutes until my turn. "Dad, are you ready?" He looked at me for the first time. His face was nothing, blank. "I'm sorry," he said, and then he let go of my arm. I heard it before I saw it. A sound like chairs scraping. A collective gasp from 200 people. I stepped around the partition just enough to see. My parents were standing up. Front row, left side. Stephanie stood up beside them. She was holding her 2 kids' hands, ages 3 and 6, dressed in matching outfits I'd paid for. Connor stood up. Tyler stood up. They didn't look at anyone. They just walked. Down the side aisle, toward the exit, quietly, deliberately. No running, no shouting, just leaving. I watched my mother walk past the gift table near the exit. I could see her pearl necklace catching the sunlight. I'd given her that necklace for her birthday 3 years ago. Stephanie stopped at the gift table. She picked up 3 gift bags, large ones, white with silver ribbon. The tags had her name on them, gifts she and her family had brought. She carried them out. My father was still standing next to me. I looked up at him. "Dad?" "I'm sorry," he said again. Then he walked after them. I stood there, alone at the entrance, music still playing, 200 people staring. The wedding coordinator ran up. She was out of breath. "What do you want to do?" I had 10 seconds to decide. Stop the ceremony, send everyone home, run after my family, or finish what I started. I looked down the aisle, 60 feet of white fabric, rose petals, sunlight through trees. Andrew was standing at the altar, hands clasped in front of him, watching me. His face was breaking. I looked at 200 people, friends, colleagues, Andrew's family, people who'd driven hours, bought gifts, taken off work. I thought, they don't get to take this from me. They don't get to win. I looked at the coordinator. Start the music again, I said. I'm walking alone. The music started over. Canon in D, the song I'd chosen months ago. I took the first step. I counted every step. 73 total. Step 1. Breathe. Step 23. I passed a family friend, Mrs. Patterson from church. She was crying. Not happy tears. Pity. Step 31. A cousin of Andrew's who'd flown in from Oregon. She covered her mouth. Step 45. The front row. Empty. 5 seats. My mother's purse was still on her chair. She'd forgotten it in the rush to leave. Step 73. I reached Andrew. He took my hands. They were shaking. He whispered, "You're the strongest person I know." I didn't feel strong. I felt like I was drowning. But I smiled. The officiant began. "Dearly beloved." I said my vows. I didn't change a single word. When he said, "You may kiss the bride," I kissed my husband in front of 200 people who'd just watched my family abandon me. And I smiled. The reception began at 4:30 p.m. Cocktail hour. Dinner. Toasts. The family table had 5 empty seats. My parents. Stephanie. Connor. Tyler. Their place settings were untouched. Champagne glasses still full. Dinner plates pristine. The DJ skipped the father-daughter dance. He just skipped it. Went straight from the first dance to the anniversary dance. Nobody mentioned it, but everyone noticed. No family toasts. I'd written my parents into the program. Toast by father of the bride. There was a gap in the schedule where that should have been. At 6:30 p.m., a guest came up to me. Older woman. Friend of my mother's from church. "Everything is beautiful, honey. Thank you so much for being here." "We wouldn't miss it." She paused. Her smile was strained. "Are you okay?" "I'm perfect. This is the happiest day of my life." She hugged me. I felt her pity through the embrace. At 9:47 p.m., my phone buzzed in my clutch. Text from Stephanie. "Sorry we had to leave early. Emergency with boutique setup. Congrats." Emergency. That's what she called it. I read that text 3 times. Then I put my phone away and danced with my husband. 11 p.m. Andrew and I were in the hotel room. Same hotel as the morning. Different room. Honeymoon suite. Rose petals on the bed that the staff had arranged. Champagne on ice. I was still in my wedding dress. I sat on the edge of the bed. Tulle spread across the comforter like a cloud. Andrew was taking off his tie. "What do you need?" "My laptop." "What?" "My laptop. It's in my bag." He handed it to me. I opened it. Created a new folder on my desktop. Wedding 2019. Record. I opened my email. Started downloading. The save the date chain. Stephanie's grand opening announcement. The venue contract. Confirmation emails. Andrew sat next to me. "What are you doing?" "Documenting." "Documenting what?" "Everything. I don't know why yet, but I need to save everything." I took screenshots of text messages, downloaded bank statements showing the deposits I'd made, $8,500 to the venue, $4,600 to the caterer, $3,200 to the photographer, every dollar I'd paid. I saved the Instagram story where Stephanie thanked my parents for $12,000, the Facebook post announcing her opening. Andrew fell asleep at 1 a.m. I kept working until 4 a.m. I didn't know what I was saving it for. I just knew I'd need it someday. June 13th, 2019. Morning after my wedding. I woke up at 9 a.m. Andrew was still asleep. I checked my phone. 14 notifications. All Facebook. I opened the app. My mother had posted 14 photos. all from Stephanie's boutique opening. Family photos in front of Little Wonders. Stephanie cutting a ribbon. My parents on either side of her beaming. Connor and Tyler in the background. Stephanie's kids holding balloons. Everyone smiling. Caption: So proud of our girl. Little Wonders is open. Family is everything. I read that caption 5 times. Family is everything. I took a screenshot, added it to the folder. June 14th to 20th, 2019. No calls from my parents. I called my mother on June 15th, straight to voicemail. I called my father on June 16th, voicemail. I texted both on June 17th. Mom, can we talk? I need to understand what happened. Read receipts. On. Read at 2:34 p.m. No reply. They ghosted me. My own parents, like I was the problem. The June 18th, 2019. I noticed I couldn't see the extended family group chat anymore. The one with 43 members, aunts, uncles, cousins, my parents, my siblings. I texted my cousin Jenna. Did something happen to the family group chat? I can't see it. She called me instead of texting back. Gabriella, I'm so sorry. What happened? Your mom removed you, and then she posted about what happened. I'm sending you screenshots. 2 minutes later, my phone buzzed. 6 screenshots. Messages from the group chat. Sent June 14th, the day after my wedding. Mother, June 14th, 9:32 p.m. Gabriella is very upset with us for supporting Stephanie's business. She doesn't understand how much Stephanie needed us. Aunt Linda. That's so sad. Why would she make you choose? Mother. We didn't think she'd be this selfish. We raised her better than this. Uncle Frank. Sometimes kids forget that family means sacrifice. Mother. Exactly. We're heartbroken, but we had to support Stephanie. She's building something real. I read those screenshots 5 times. My mother told 43 people I made them choose. She told them I was selfish. Less than 24 hours after they walked out of my wedding ceremony. I saved every screenshot Jenna sent me, added them to the folder. June 21st, 2019. I woke up to 17 text messages, all from different people, all saying the same thing. Did you see your mom's post? I opened Facebook. My mother had posted. Public post. 340 reactions. 67 comments. Photo. Stephanie in front of Little Wonders boutique, arms spread wide. Caption. So proud of Stephanie for following her dreams and opening Little Wonders boutique. Not everyone understands what it takes to build something from nothing. Some children understand sacrifice and family support. Others only think of themselves. We're grateful for our daughter who built a business while others chose parties over family. Family is everything. She didn't say my name, but everyone knew. 67 comments. I read them all. You raised her right. So proud of you for supporting Stephanie. Some people will never understand what real family means. Your daughter is so lucky to have parents like you. Not one person defended me. I took a screenshot. Timestamp: 9:47 a.m., June 21st, 2019. I saved it. I backed it up 3 times. June 23rd, 2019. Sunday morning. I went to church. Same congregation my parents attended. 320 members. Small town. Everyone knew everyone. I walked into the parking lot at 11:20 a.m. People avoided eye contact. I made it to my car after service. A woman approached me. Mrs. Clarkson, 70 years old, taught Sunday school. I heard what you did to your sister. I turned. I'm sorry? Making your parents choose between your wedding and her business opening. That's cruel, Gabriella. I didn't. Your mother is heartbroken. You should apologize. She walked away before I could respond. I stood in the parking lot. 11:34 a.m. Heat radiating off the asphalt. My car was a silver Honda Civic I'd bought used 3 years earlier. I got in. I started the engine. I drove home. I never went back to that church. I couldn't handle 320 people believing I was the villain. Late June 2019. I sat at my kitchen table and reviewed my finances. I had a spreadsheet, everything tracked. My parents had promised $8,000, verbal promise, February 2018, when I got engaged. We'll help with the wedding. You're our daughter. I'd counted on that money, budgeted around it. They never paid. Total I paid out of pocket, $11,500. Venue deposit, $8,500. Caterer, $4,600. Photographer, $3,200. Flowers, $1,800. DJ, $1,200. Invitations, $400. Every dollar from my savings, my emergency fund, money I'd saved from tutoring and side jobs and skipping vacations. And 2 days after promising me wedding money, my parents posted on Facebook. Check in at the bank. Caption: just invested in our daughter's dream. $12,000 for Little Wonder's inventory. $12,000 for her boutique. Zero for my wedding. I saved that post, added it to the folder. July 4th, 2019. 3 weeks post-wedding. I made one final attempt. I called my father. He answered. First time in 3 weeks. Gabriella. Dad, can we please talk about what happened? What's there to talk about? You're angry we supported your sister. You left my wedding ceremony. We had to support Stephanie. She needed us. I needed you. Long pause. 10 seconds. I counted. You're married now. You have Andrew. Stephanie's business was at risk. So my wedding didn't matter? I'm not having this conversation. When you're ready to apologize to your sister for making this difficult, call us. He hung up. I was in my kitchen, phone on the counter, speaker mode. Andrew was watching from the doorway, hands clenched. I looked at him. I'm done, I said. I'm never calling them again. Good, he said. July 2019. I spent my evenings organizing the folder. Wedding 2019, record. I created subfolders. Emails, text screenshots, bank statements, social media posts, photos, timeline, document. 22 emails. Total. Save the date chain. Stephanie's grand opening announcement. Venue confirmations. Caterer contracts. 73 screenshots. Group chat messages. Facebook posts. Text conversations. Instagram stories. 8 bank statements showing my withdrawals, showing my parents' investment in Stephanie's boutique. 12 photos. Empty family seats at the ceremony. The family table at the reception with 5 untouched place settings. My mother's purse on her abandoned chair. 1 voicemail. My mother's vague, "will be there" message from the morning of June 12th. 1 typed document, 6 pages, timeline of every event, date stamped, exact quotes where I remembered them. I backed it all up to Google Drive, 3 copies, different accounts. I labeled the folder. Wedding 2019, record. Last modified, July 28, 2019, 11:52 p.m. I didn't know why I needed all this. I just knew that someday someone would ask me, "Why did you cut contact with your family?" And I'd have proof I wasn't crazy. CTA number 2. Here's what I need you to understand. When someone rewrites history to make you the villain, documentation isn't petty. It's survival. Have you ever kept receipts not because you wanted revenge, but because you needed to remember you weren't losing your mind? Tell me in the comments, because what I didn't know was that 5 years later, those receipts would save 2 children I'd never even met. By August 2019, my life had split into 2 versions. The version where I was a newlywed, starting my career, building a future. And the version where I was the family scapegoat, the selfish daughter, the sister who ruined everything. I couldn't control the second version, but I could document it. 73 screenshots, 22 emails, 8 bank statements. I backed it up 3 times, and then I moved on with my life. I threw myself into work. My job as an elementary school counselor became my focus. I took extra training. I volunteered for committees. I stayed late to run after school groups for kids dealing with divorce, anxiety, friendship conflicts. I was good at my job. Kids trusted me. Parents requested me specifically. By the end of my first year post-wedding, I'd been nominated for a district-wide Excellence Award. In March 2020, Andrew and I moved. We'd been living in Charlotte, 40 minutes from my parents. Too close. Every grocery store run felt like I might see them. Every restaurant had the potential for an awkward encounter. We moved to Asheville, 90 miles away. Mountains, new city, new start. One-bedroom apartment with a view of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Small, affordable, no family photos on the walls. I started seeing a therapist. Her name was Dr. Reeves, 50-something. Kind eyes. Office that smelled like lavender. November 2019 session. 3 months post-wedding. Have you considered reaching out to them? She asked. Why? So they can tell me it's my fault again? What would closure look like for you? I thought about that. Honestly, I don't think I need it anymore. I think I just need to accept they chose Stephanie, and I chose myself. I didn't hear from my parents for 18 months. Not on my birthday, November 3rd, 2019, 29 years old. No call, no card, no text. Not on Christmas. December 25th, 2019. Andrew and I spent it alone. We made breakfast, watched movies. It was quiet, peaceful. Not on my first anniversary, June 12th, 2020. 1 year since they walked out. No acknowledgement. And slowly, so slowly I didn't notice it happening. I stopped waiting for them to call. I heard through my cousin Jenna that Little Wonder's boutique was struggling. March 2020. COVID-19 hit. Retail shut down. Stephanie posted on Facebook asking for community support. Small businesses need you now more than ever. I didn't comment, I didn't share, I just watched from a distance. The boutique reopened, but foot traffic never recovered. Stephanie posted sales, discounts, going out of business threats that she'd pull back from at the last minute. March 2022. The boutique closed. Stephanie posted on Facebook. With a heavy heart, Little Wonder's boutique is closing. Thank you to everyone who supported us. Sometimes dreams change shape. Jenna texted me. Did you see Steph close the boutique? Your parents lost everything. Mom says they might have to sell the house. I read that text 3 times. I waited to feel something. Satisfaction, vindication, pity. I felt nothing, just quiet. I texted back. That's sad. I hope they're okay. And I meant it. I did, but it also wasn't my problem anymore. May 2021. I was promoted to lead counselor at my elementary school. Salary increased to $68,000. More responsibility. My own office. A team of 3 counselors reporting to me. I bought a house. Small. 2-bedroom. Backyard with a garden. Andrew and I planted tomatoes and basil. I was thriving. Professionally. Personally. Emotionally. I'd built a life that didn't include my family. And that was okay. The promotion letter came on official school district letterhead. Dear Ms. Gabriella Bennett. Gabriella Bennett. I'd taken Andrew's last name. Gabriella Hulin felt like someone else's life. Someone who'd been abandoned at her wedding. Someone whose family chose a boutique over her vows. Gabriella Bennett didn't have a sister who destroyed her wedding. She just didn't have a family. And that was okay. Jenna mentioned Stephanie's marriage was rocky. I didn't ask for details. March 2024. Jenna texted. Steph's husband filed for divorce. He wants full custody of the kids. I was on my couch, glass of wine in hand, true crime documentary playing in the background. I texted back. That's awful. Are the kids okay? I don't know. Steph says he's being vindictive. Your parents are freaking out. I'm sure it'll work out. You don't sound surprised. I'm not involved, Jenna. I hope she's okay, but it's not my business. And I meant it. Stephanie had made sure 6 years ago that I wasn't part of her life. This was just the consequence of that choice. I saw my niece and nephew occasionally, through Jenna's social media. They were 9 and 12 now. I'd never met them. Instagram photo, birthday party, pink frosting, Stephanie's daughter blowing out candles, my parents in the background. I wondered if she knew I existed. I wondered if Stephanie had told her, "You have an aunt, but she's not part of our family." I wondered if it mattered. I didn't know that those kids, those strangers, would be the reason I'd have to choose between silence and truth. By fall 2024, I'd been no contact for 5 years. I had a career I loved, a marriage that worked, a house with a garden. I didn't think about my family every day anymore, maybe once a week, maybe less. And then, in November 2024, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. A woman's voice. "Ms. Bennett, this is attorney Jennifer Wallace. I represent Andrew Garrison in a custody matter. I understand you're Stephanie Garrison's sister. I'd like to ask you some questions." Now that's when I knew. The silent years were over. November 28th, 2024. Thursday, 6:47 p.m. I was in my home office, grading progress reports. My laptop was open. The desktop background was a photo of Andrew and me hiking in the mountains. In the corner of the screen, a folder icon. Wedding 2019. Record. I hadn't opened it in 2 years. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. "Hello? Ms. Bennett? This is attorney Jennifer Wallace. I represent Andrew Garrison in a custody matter involving his children with Stephanie Garrison. I understand you're Stephanie's sister. Is this a good time to talk?" I set down my pen. "What is this about?" "I'll be direct. Your name came up during discovery. Mr. Garrison mentioned there was a family incident several years ago where your sister may have misrepresented facts to manipulate family members. Is that something you'd be willing to discuss?" My heart rate picked up. "What kind of incident?" "I'd prefer to discuss in person. But I can tell you this. We have evidence your sister has told her children falsehoods about extended family members. We believe this constitutes parental alienation. If you have evidence of a pattern of dishonesty, it could be relevant to the court's custody determination." I looked at my laptop screen, at the folder icon. "I need to think about this," I said. "Of course, the hearing is scheduled for January 15th. If you're willing to meet, please let me know soon." She gave me her office address. I wrote it down. "I'll call you back," I said. I hung up, and I stared at that folder icon for 20 minutes. December 3rd, 2024. Tuesday afternoon. I met Jennifer Wallace at a coffee shop halfway between Asheville and Charlotte. Neutral territory, she was 50-something. Gray suit, leather briefcase. She ordered black coffee. I ordered a latte I wouldn't drink. She pulled out a manila folder, labeled Garrison Custody, Witness Materials. "Before I show you anything," she said, "I need to know, do you have any contact with your sister?" "No. We haven't spoken in 6 years." "Can you tell me why?" I told her. The wedding, the walkout, the Facebook post, the group chat removal, the ghosting. When I finished, she leaned forward. "Do you have proof?" "Yes, all of it." She slid the folder across the table. "I want to show you something. This is an excerpt from the Guardian ad litem report. The GAL is a court-appointed advocate for the children. She interviewed them as part of the custody evaluation." I opened the folder. 2 pages. Typed. Official letterhead. Guardian ad litem report. Excerpt. Garrison custody case. Number 2024-FC-8916. Interview with child. A. Female, age 9. When asked about extended family, child A stated, "Mommy says Aunt Gabriella is mean. She yelled at Mommy at a wedding and made Grandma cry. We're not allowed to talk about her." Interview with child B. Male, age 6. When asked about paternal family members, child B stated, Daddy says Aunt Gabriella is nice, but Mommy says she's bad. I don't know who she is. I read it 3 times. I've never yelled at Stephanie, I said quietly. I've never made my mother cry. I wasn't even at the wedding when they left. They left before I could say anything. Jennifer's pen was poised over her notepad. Tell me exactly what happened. I told her everything. When I finished, she said, Do you have proof? Yes. What kind? Emails, text screenshots, bank statements, social media posts, photos, a timeline document, everything. Can you send it to me? Yes. Will you testify? I paused. Let me think about it. That night, I went home. Andrew was at work, evening shift at the physical therapy clinic. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, clicked on the folder. Wedding 2019, record. Last modified, July 28th, 2019, 5 years ago. I opened it. Everything was still there. Emails subfolder, 22 files. Text screenshots, 73 images. Bank statements, 8 PDFs. Social media posts, 14 screenshots. Photos, 12 images. Timeline, document, 6 pages, single-spaced. I'd kept these files for 5 years. I thought it was for me. Proof I wasn't crazy. But maybe it was for this. Maybe it was always for this. I created a shared Google Drive link, sent it to Jennifer. 15 minutes later, she called. This is exactly what we need, she said. Will you testify? Let me think about it. Of course. But Gabriella, the hearing is in 6 weeks. I need to know soon. I hung up. I looked at the folder, and I thought about 2 kids, 9 and 6, who'd been told their aunt was mean, who'd been told she yelled, who'd been told she made Grandma cry. None of it was true. December 5th to 10th, 2024. I talked to Andrew. What do you think I should do? We were in bed. Late night. He was reading. I was staring at the ceiling. I think, he said slowly, you need to ask yourself, are you doing this for revenge? Or are you doing this for those kids? I don't know. Yes, you do. I thought about it. I'm doing it because they deserve to know the truth. If Stephanie lies to them about me, what else is she lying about? Andrew nodded. Then you know what to do. December 7th. Therapy session with Dr. Reeves. What are you afraid of? She asked. That I'm doing this for revenge. Are you? Long pause. No. I'm doing it because those kids deserve to know the truth. If Stephanie lies to them about me, what else is she lying about? And if you don't testify, then I'm protecting her. Again. And I'm done protecting people who hurt me. Dr. Reeves nodded. Then it sounds like you've made your decision. I called Jennifer on December 10th. I'll testify. What do you need from me? December 12th to 18th, 2024. Jennifer prepared me for testimony. We met 3 times. Her law office, conference room, mahogany table. She laid out exhibits. My screenshots, printed, highlighted. The opposing counsel will try to discredit you, she said. They'll say you're biased because of the wedding. They'll say you have an axe to grind. What do I say? You tell the truth. You're not testifying about the wedding. You're testifying about the pattern, about how your sister manipulated your parents, about how she lied to her children. The wedding is just one example in a 6-year pattern. Okay. On December 18th, we'll notify Stephanie's attorney that you're testifying. She'll find out that day. Okay. Jennifer looked at me. When she finds out, she'll likely try to contact you. Do not engage. Do not respond. Anything you say can be used in court. If she shows up at your house, call me immediately. I nodded. She won't come to my house. We haven't spoken in 6 years. Jennifer raised an eyebrow. People do desperate things in custody battles. I laughed. You don't know my sister. She's too proud. I was wrong. December 18th, 2024. Jennifer called at 3 p.m. Stephanie's been notified. Hearing is January 15th. Are you ready? I looked at my computer screen. The folder was open. 73 screenshots, 22 emails, 8 bank statements, 6 years of silence. I've been ready since June 12th, 2019. Good. I'll see you in court. I hung up, and I waited. 2 days later, I heard a knock on my door. December 20th, 2024. Friday night, 7:34 p.m. Andrew was at work. I was home alone, making dinner, pasta on the stove. The doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I turned off the stove, walked to the door, looked through the peephole. Stephanie, on her knees, crying. I froze. 6 years. 6 years of silence. And now she was on my porch. I opened the door. Cold air rushed in. 38 degrees. I could see my breath. Stephanie was on her knees on my welcome mat, hands clasped, mascara running. Please, she said, please don't do this. I didn't say anything. I just stared. Gabriella, I'm begging you. If you testify, I'll lose my kids. 10 seconds of silence. I counted them. She kept talking. I know I hurt you. I know I know it was wrong. But this is different. These are my children, Gabriella, your niece and nephew. If you testify, the judge will take them from me. Good, I said. She stopped crying, looked up. What? I said good. Maybe they should be taken from you. How can you say that? You don't even know them. Exactly, I said. Whose fault is that? She stood up. The begging stopped. If you do this, she said, voice hard now, you'll never be part of this family again. I almost laughed. I haven't been part of this family for 6 years. Mom and Dad will never forgive you. They never forgave me for getting married. I'll survive. Everyone will know what kind of person you are. They already think they know. You made sure of that in 2019. Her face changed. She realized threats wouldn't work. So she tried one more thing. Her voice softened. She stepped closer. Gabriella, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about the wedding. I was selfish. I was wrong. Please, I'll do anything. I'll apologize publicly. I'll tell everyone the truth. Just please don't testify. You had 6 years to apologize. I know, I was too proud. I was stupid. But I'm here now. I'm apologizing now. You're apologizing because you need something, not because you're sorry. That's not true. Yes, it is. If I wasn't testifying, would you be here? Silence. 5 seconds. Wind rustling the trees. Her car engine was still running in my driveway. Headlights on. No, I said, answering my own question. You wouldn't. You'd still be telling your kids I'm the villain. Do you want to know what I'm testifying about? She looked up. The wedding, I know. I'll explain. Not the wedding. The court doesn't care about the wedding. I'm testifying about what you told your kids. Her face went pale. That I yelled at you. That I made Mom cry. That I'm mean. How do you... The Guardian ad litem interviewed them. They repeated your lies, word for word. I didn't mean... You told a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old that their aunt is a bad person. You lied to them. Just like you lied to the family about the wedding. Just like you lied about why the boutique failed. You have a pattern, Stephanie. And I have proof. Her hands were shaking. She was clutching her phone like she wanted to call someone, but didn't know who. You kept receipts, she whispered. I'm a school counselor, I said. Documentation is what I do. My phone rang. Loud, breaking the silence. I pulled it out of my pocket. Mom Mobile on the caller ID. I answered, put it on speaker, held it between us. Gabriella, please, don't do this to your sister. My mother's voice. I hadn't heard it in 6 years. I'm not doing anything to her. I'm telling the truth. You'll destroy this family. You destroyed it 6 years ago. My father's voice in the background. If you testify, We'll lose the kids. The judge might restrict our visitation too. So that's what this is about. You're not worried about Stephanie. You're worried about yourselves. Those children need their grandmother. They needed an aunt too. You made sure they never met me. I hung up. Stephanie was staring at me, tears streaming. Please, she whispered. I'll do anything. There's nothing you can do, I said. You had 6 years. I stepped back, and I closed the door. CTA number 3. I want you to think about this. When someone shows up begging for mercy after 6 years of silence, do you owe them anything? When they only apologize because they need something, is that really an apology? Drop a comment. Tell me what you would have done. Because what happened next in that courtroom changed everything. Not just for me, but for 2 kids who deserved the truth. I watched through this window. Stephanie sat on my porch steps for 11 minutes, crying, texting someone, crying more. Then she got in her car and drove away. My phone rang 6 more times that night. Mom, Dad, Connor, Tyler, Stephanie, Mom again. I didn't answer. I went to my office, opened the folder, and I reviewed every document I'd be presenting in 26 days. 73 screenshots, 22 emails, 8 bank statements, 6 years of receipts. I wasn't nervous. I was ready. January 15th, 2026, Wednesday morning. The courthouse was in Charlotte, family court, 3rd floor. I wore a navy suit. Professional, calm. I'd taken the day off work. Jennifer met me outside the courtroom. Are you ready? Yes. Remember, tell the truth, stay calm, don't let them rattle you. I nodded. We walked in. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood paneling, judge's bench at the front, a woman in her 50s reading documents. Stephanie was at the defendant's table with her lawyer. She didn't look at me. I sat in the witness area, waited. At 10:15 a.m., they called my name. Gabriella Bennett to the stand. I walked up, raised my right hand, swore to tell the truth. I sat down. Jennifer stood. Ms. Bennett, what is your relationship with Stephanie Garrison? We have no relationship. We haven't spoken in 6 years. Why? I took a breath. Because she has a pattern of lying to manipulate people, and I have documentation proving it. For 12 minutes, I testified. I presented the emails, the screenshots, the bank statements. I explained the wedding. Not because it mattered to the court, but because it showed the pattern. How she booked the grand opening one day after my wedding. How she told our parents if they didn't come, she'd shut down the boutique. How they walked out of my ceremony. How she posted on social media pretending it was an emergency. How my mother told 43 people I was selfish. How I was removed from the family group chat. How I documented everything because I knew this pattern would matter someday. Jennifer asked, "Why is this relevant to the custody case?" Because the same pattern continued with her children. The Guardian ad litem report shows she told her 9-year-old daughter that I yelled at her at the wedding and made my mother cry. Neither of those things happened. I never yelled. I never made anyone cry. I wasn't even near them when they left. She lied to a child. And if she'll lie to her children about me, what else will she lie to them about? The judge asked me one question. Ms. Bennett, do you believe your sister loves her children? I looked at Stephanie. She was crying. Yes, I said. But I also believe she'll lie to them if it serves her interests. I have proof she already has. I stepped down. February 3rd, 2026. 3 weeks after the hearing. Jennifer called. The judge ruled, shared custody, 50-50. Stephanie has to attend mandatory family therapy with the children. The guardian ad litem will continue monitoring for 12 months, psychological evaluations every 6 months. What about my parents? No restriction on grandparent visitation. They were relieved. And Stephanie? Furious, but legally bound. So the kids are safe? Safer, thanks to you. I hung up. I was in my kitchen, February morning, coffee mug in hand, sunlight through the window. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt done. March 26. My parents sent a letter. Handwritten. My mother's handwriting. It arrived on a Tuesday. I opened it standing at my mailbox. Dear Gabriella, we know you testified at Stephanie's hearing. We understand you felt you had to, but we're asking you now to forgive and move forward. Family is everything. We miss you. The kids ask about you. Please come home. Love, Mom and Dad. I read it twice. Then I sat down and wrote a response. You asked me to forgive. I have. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You made your choice in 2019. I'm making mine now. I wish you well. But I don't want contact. Please respect that. Gabriella. I printed it, signed it, mailed it. March 12th, 2026. I made a copy. I saved it in the folder. Wedding 2019. Record. The final document. I never heard from them again. I don't know if they read it. I don't care. It's been 3 months since the hearing. I still work at the same school. I still live in the same house. I still have the folder, Wedding 2019, record, but I don't open it anymore. I don't need to. It served its purpose. My niece and nephew are in therapy now. Learning that what their mother told them wasn't true. Learning that family can lie. Learning that truth matters more than loyalty. I'll probably never meet them. But I hope someday they understand. I didn't testify against their mother. I testified for the truth. And sometimes, the truth is the most loving thing you can give a child, even if it costs you everything. If you've ever been in a situation where you had to choose between keeping the peace and telling the truth, you know it's not easy. You know people will call you cruel. They'll say you're destroying the family. They'll say you should have just stayed silent. But here's what I learned. Silence protects the people who hurt you, and documentation protects the people they hurt next. Those two kids didn't ask to be lied to. They didn't ask to be used as pawns in their mother's manipulation. They just needed one person to stand up and say, "This isn't okay. I was that person, and I'd do it again." If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been the scapegoat, the one who kept receipts because you knew you'd need them someday, the one who chose truth over family approval, I see you. You're not alone. And if you're wondering whether you should speak up about something you've been holding on to, whether you should present the evidence you've been keeping, whether you should break the silence that's been protecting people who don't deserve it, maybe this is your sign. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is close the door on people who never valued you. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is open a folder you've been keeping for years and use it to protect someone who can't protect themselves. Either way, you get to decide. And whatever you decide, make sure it's the decision you can live with. Not the decision that keeps the peace, but the decision that keeps your integrity. Because in the end, that's all you really have. There's another story I need to tell you about what happened 6 months after the custody hearing, about a phone call I got from someone I never expected, about a choice I had to make that was even harder than this one, but that's for next time. For now, I just want you to know, if you're the person who keeps receipts, who documents everything, who saves the screenshots and the emails and the bank statements, because you just know you'll need them someday, you're not paranoid, you're not petty, you're protecting yourself. And maybe, someday, you'll be protecting someone else too. Take care of yourselves, and remember, family is not supposed to be the people who hurt you most. Family is supposed to be the people who show up. Mine didn't. So I built my own, and so can you.